Welcome everyone to today's Back to Basics webinar series. My name is Craig McLemore and I'm team leader of eBuilder's Managed Services Group. This is webinar number 5 of 6 with the final webinar to be 1 week from today. Before we get started, let me cover a quick administrative note. Please feel free to enter any questions you have in the webinar chat window. I can't promise I'll answer immediately as we want to get through all the material in our allotted time, but I will review all questions entered via chat at the end of the presentation. Today we're going to be discussing reporting from a project management system. You're going to be seeing some report examples from the eBuilder system, but this overview should be indicative of reporting features of any comprehensive construction project management system. This should take about 20 to 25 minutes to leave us some time for questions at the end of the session. All of the data that your business generates can be overwhelming. And without a project management system, just understanding the data you accumulate from your business activities can be a challenge. Even the most organized of us can have trouble assembling all the data collected from your business into a cohesive tool for project management. Additionally, a project management system is going to increase your productivity across all aspects of your business. And reporting is likely to be the feature that can assist your management efforts most on a daily basis. The bottom line is, with the right project management system in place, it will provide you with the ability to organize your data so that you can properly manage your capital projects. The purpose of reporting is to understand the nature of the data generated by your activities is trying to tell you about your business. That may be in terms of cost trends, whether you're over or under budget for a particular project or within a budget line item, or in terms of managing risk and all of your other daily business procedures that are critical to capital project management. An important caveat to keep in mind related to project management system reporting is the term junk in equals junk out. So if you invest in a project management system, you also need to have all of your users of the system invest in making the proper inputs in order to effectively utilize reporting. You will not be able to manage project costs if you fail to properly enter a budget for each of your projects under management, etc. So that's the key commitment that must be made in terms of your own daily activities when investing in a project management system, committing to utilize the system on a daily basis. So eBuilder is a project management tool specifically tailored for serial builders, the owners of construction projects. And what we're going to do now is just dive into some specific reporting examples that help owners with capital project management. We're going to basically cover 4 types of broad categories of reports and look at samples from each category. So general administrative, cost and budget, process reports, and in-custom reports. All right, administrative reports are groups of reports that help you organize the administrative aspects of your business. Obviously, you're going to want to review information related to the users who are utilizing the system and what their activity is within the system. Likewise, you want to be able to track information related to all of those with whom you interact, to include vendors, contractors, subcontractors, etc. Document sharing and document management is also one of the prime activities associated with construction projects. We're going to look at a specific use case related to document reporting, which is a good example of some administrative reports. Finally, each module, which basically represents specific feature within the system, should also have some sort of reporting feature that allows you to analyze the data for that particular module. So this is an example of a document report. I was trying to find an administrative report that didn't dox anyone. And this particular example is a document report. It's a good sample of like a common use case for administrative reporting. It's not unusual that over time you have to identify information about a project months or even years after the information has been entered in the system. So for instance, maybe you have to address a legal issue. So the ability to find and report on data previously entered in the system is very important. And this particular report gives you a pretty good representative example of many of the features within administrative reports. You want to be able to report within a particular project or group of projects or your entire portfolio. You want to be able to report within a specific time frame, be able to filter down a specific time frame for reporting. Additionally, you'll see in this particular report, it has links. These blue links here actually take you back into the system. So anything that you're reporting on, you can have immediate access to it. So in this particular example, we're looking for something related to pumps. Maybe there's some sort of legal issue related to some pump installation on a project. And this may be one way to find information within the system. Okay, our next group of reports are cost and budget reports. So these reports are going to allow you to identify trends in specific cost buckets to allow you to manage profitability. Of course, the three main cost buckets in construction are budgets, commitments, actual cost, and then of course within construction you may have some specific commitment like cash allowances and specific invoices similar to schedule of values. Additional cost related features could be funding sources and in cash flows and forecasting. And then finally, we want to have an ability to kind of look at a cost summary across multiple of these cost elements across either a specific project or across our portfolio. So we're going to take a quick look at a combined report as an example of cost reporting. The report here below, on the bottom is a summary report. You'll notice this is grouped by three different groups. We've got construction phases, construction, total construction, and transaction. So we're looking at budgets, we're looking at commitments and actuals across all of these, and of course a little calculation projected over and under. So this is just a summary report, and then we'll also have option to kind of look at details. You can click on these buttons and toggle between hide details, show details. So this top is just an example of the detailed report of the summary report down below. In this case, the construction phase, which total these funds here, are made up of 46 different projects. And then this report just shows the detail of the summary. So this represents a good example of cost and budget reporting. Our next group of reports are process reports. So we need to define what a process is. Typically in a project, specifically a construction project management system, a process is just a defined series of steps between one or more users. So typically in construction management, you're sharing information among a number of different users. And some of these will be very common to you. Requests for information, risk management, submittal, shop drawings, etc. Using a process, you can define your business procedures for sharing a request for information or managing different risk on your projects, so on and so forth. And then, of course, an additional part of managing of construction management is managing change. And managing change is really the central focus of construction project management. And managing change can be defined as a process. So you may have a process to do any budget changes that come up, or a process to modify a commitment, do a commitment change, or to improve an invoice. All of these can be defined within the system, and then of course you want to be able to report upon those various business processes that you've identified or that you've defined within your system. And then another key feature of process reports are what I call working reports. So this would be managing all the work in court, work that is in your court. And basically what that does is all of the items that are in your report will have a process document that will link back into the system so that you can access that information and update it over time to keep all of your work in court up to date. So let's take a look at something of that nature. All right, this is an example of a risk report. In the report itself, you can see a lot of the information associated risk is within the report itself. In this particular case, we're looking at one specific instance related to COVID. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that as a risk by now. So in this particular report, we have our information here, but this link also provides the ability to click on the link, go into the process instance itself. Now, this is just a sample representation of the risk process. There's likely a great deal more there, but then update this information. So for instance, in this risk, you may want to put your mitigation strategy for how you're going to mitigate this risk and make that a part of the process instant. Update that and then rerun your report and it will show up on your report. Another example of a working report would be what we call an aging report. So for instance, teams that may work with requests for information by contract, you may have to respond to any request for information within, say, 14 days. So that you want to group your report 0 to 7 days, maybe there's no shading, there's no aging on those instances. 7 to 14 days, you may want to shade with yellow to bring to the attention of the user, hey, these are coming due within the next week. And then anything over 14 days would be shaded red to indicate these instances need immediate attention. So by using an aging report, a working report, you can work on things that are in your report in real time, use the report to update them, make your changes, make your updates to the system, and rerun the report, and it generates your new status. Okay, so that was process reports. Our next group of reports are custom reports. So the systems, your system's out-of-the-box reporting engine, it may not meet all of your specific needs. For instance, many people have Excel spreadsheets that they're just used to managing off of. And you may have noticed that in the samples that I showed you here, most of the reports, at least in our circumstance, are kind of column and row formatted. That's the typical formatting of a standard out-of-the-box report. Whereas a custom report, you may be used to managing with something that has a little bit more, the layout is more complex, or the content, you want to merge multiple different metrics within the report. That would lend itself to custom reporting. So the key thing to understand about custom reporting is, one, does your system vendor, do they allow for custom reports? Two, there are going to be additional costs to implement custom reporting options. That's additional cost in terms of both the money for development purposes and the time to implement. So a custom report may take anywhere from several weeks to several months just to get it up and running and into the system. So again, the caveat there is you may be used to having your reports sent to you in a certain way to look at them, but if you can get the same information from the general report module, maybe you have to look at one or two things, it may save you money in the long run. So let's take a quick look at some custom report examples. What you'll notice right away from these examples, the layout is quite a bit more complex. So this is like a monthly transaction report. It would be a monthly report on a project, everything about the project, from the schedule to the project details, various risk, various status information, budget. So you can see a number of different things are combined in this one report. This was transaction milestone. So again, something that's a little more specific than what comes out of the box. Recall that this all looks kind of column and row, the standard reporting output, whereas the custom report can look pretty much any way you want it to look. Another thing to point out in the custom report output, I don't know if you can tell, but these are basically Excel files. The report output is in Excel because Excel is a common denominator, the least common denominator of what people in construction who work in construction, they work with Excel files all the time. So that gives you a quick overview of custom reports. Our next topic, report extras. Finally, I just want to point out a few extra features related to reporting to be aware of. To make reporting useful, you want to look for a reporting engine that is easy to use. Typically, there is just so much data that you're input into a system, just organizing it all into a report format can be difficult. So things like a report wizard is useful to organize just how you're going to put the report together, something to look for. We pointed out earlier filter options, both in the time frame and the data to be reported within the report. Dashboards are really just visual representations of your data set within the report. And oftentimes you want to create dashboards mainly for upper management consumption. They just want to get a general summary of where things are rather than the details, the nuts and bolts of everything. So dashboards are good for generating visual representations of your report summary information. The report output options. So again, in the samples that I was displaying, you were seeing those on screen. So you're going to always have your on-screen review. But again, people like to work within Excel, or maybe you need to export information out of your system somewhere else. The report functionality along with output options allows for that type of use. And in fact, that becomes very useful for third-party integrations. For instance, with eBuilder, we have just a number of integrations with third-party financial systems. Somebody's doing their invoices in a financial system. They want to export that information over to eBuilder so that it gets into our cost management system of eBuilder. And the report output options allowing for Excel or SVS files, that allows for system integrations. Finally, you want to look for something that allows you to schedule your reports. You don't want to have to go in and create a report every time you need to use it. Once you've created it one time and you know this is going to be useful to you, then you can use a schedule feature that automatically delivers the report to you on an as-needed basis. So we'll take a few looks of examples here. This is just a sample dashboard. It won't necessarily look like this, and it can have any type of form between bar graphs, bar charts, different graphical representation. It may scroll for many, many pages just to show you to here. I'll give you an example. And typically what you'll be able to do with a dashboard is click into the image itself, which will then take you to the report, which will have all the supporting detailed information. And then of course, from within that report itself, you may be able to link into the various details of the report, of the system information that makes up the report. So there's a good overview of what a dashboard may look like. These are just two different things that we talked about earlier. So report outputs, again, on your screen, you're going to have the report information. The print view in this case would actually print this exactly as is on an Excel file, with all this header information in here as well. Whereas the export options, when the Excel data export, it gets rid of the header information, so it's just pure raw data. And then the CSV is just a comma delimited data export, and then you have the tab delimited option as well. And again, often those are for moving information into and out of your system. And in fact, you can use, I don't think it's part of my presentation here, but with processes, you can batch import data. A lot of people are using Excel to represent their data. You can take those Excel files, batch import using a process import, and bring that information from a spreadsheet rather than having to enter it one item or one row at a time. You can take a spreadsheet with, say, 1,000 different invoices and upload all 1,000 in one batch input using the reporting feature and the processes feature married together using the output options. Down here below on the second portion, bottom of the screen, I'm showing just schedule reports. So again, once you have your report identified, you can have the specific report subscribed to. It will come to you in any different types of format. This is showing HTML, so you'll actually get an email with the report embedded into the email. It will be in email format, but you can link to it and go directly into the system to see the report itself, or just view it as an email format. And you can have it delivered to you at a specific day. And you can allow multiple people to receive the report. That pretty much wraps up a quick but hopefully a fairly thorough overview of some of the reporting features of a project management system. And I'm just going to leave you with a couple of observations from different users. This from one of our customers at Banner Health. Mostly this just reinforces the idea that just organizing your business information without a system to accurately report results is problematic for a business. In this case, once the system was in place, much more success in being able to do reporting and managing their information. Similarly, this is another of our clients, another happy customer with eBuilder reporting solution. And I would say that 100% of our clients find the reporting solution to be one of the most useful aspects of the project management system. And that concludes the presentation today, and we thank you for your time and attention.